Hi Sonam. Hi. Hi Neha. I'm Riddhi Devra and I'm doing this live for Guru Q. And for those who don't know me, I'm a parenting coach and influencer. I've been writing content on parenting for almost 4 years now, and I share a lot of videos and tips related to parenting. And today I'll be talking about how to teach our children. This is a question that a lot of parents ask me all the time, especially parents with small kids, and that's what I'll be talking about in this video. And this live is also going to be saved, and if you have any questions you can leave it in the comment section after I finish. And it's going to take around 35 to 40 minutes max to for me to walk you through the whole model. So let's start. So the question is, how do we teach our children? And a lot of times, like, we feel that our kids are not learning, our kids don't want to learn, our kids don't want to sit, our kids are throwing a fit, they are not into studying, or they are not into reading, they just don't want to read, they are always running around, and we have so many questions and we have so many things that we want to tell about our children. But there are certain things that we don't do right, and that is what I want to mention. So first thing that we really need to, we need to actually have the preconditions set properly before we even start to teach our children. So what are the things that we need to actually be mindful of? So first is that you should have a clutter free environment, keep a clean space. So let's say if you are doing a distraction free, a clutter free environment for the children. So what this means is that, let's say if you want to teach your child the letters of the English alphabet or coloring, then you keep a quiet area, a clean space without toys, without any jazz in the surrounding, because when you have so many things around the child, then your child is distracted and the child is not going to look at the picture that you want the child to color, because the child is being attracted to other things that are kept around him or her. So first you have a distraction free, clutter free environment, and I usually do everything with my son in the balcony because there's nothing and I don't have to move things around. So I have a wooden slate where everything we sit on the grass and we do. So that is something, you can have a small corner or small space in your house where you plan to teach your child, which is free of any distraction. That is the first thing. The second thing is to have a realistic expectation. So we expect our children to sit down for 1 hour with us and study. That is not going to happen because kids are not going to give you that attention. And especially smaller kids, they're not going to do that. So when you feel that your kid is not giving you enough attention and is not sitting with you for 1 hour, don't expect that to start with. Just try and make your child sit in the spot for 5 to 10 minutes. And if you do that consistently, then you can slowly build up and make those 10 minutes to 10-15 minutes. 15 can go to 20, and slowly and gradually you build, and it compounds over time. But on day one, if you expect your child to sit with you for 1 hour, that's not going to happen. It takes time, it takes patience and practice. So don't have that expectation. And the third thing is, make a plan that is sustainable. So the idea of planning your day is to make your day easy, not to make your day so difficult. Sometimes we plan so much and we put so much on our calendar or on our to-do list that we actually, instead of feeling relaxed, we feel very anxious and stressed out. We feel, how am I going to finish this? This is also left. I've still not done this. I still have to take care of this. And we actually end up doing nothing, and we just create a lot of anxiety, stress, and panic for ourselves. So it's very important that you actually have these three things out of the way. clear distraction free environment, realistic expectations, and the third is make a plan that is sustainable, that is easy for you to manage, something that you can manage in your day, and that's going to make you feel good about your day once you do that. That is the third thing. Now I've come up with this model, and I've called this model 10 slots of 10 minutes each. And this is what I have used to teach my child during the lockdown, and even before that, unconsciously. I didn't know I was doing that for a really long time. But during the lockdown, I noticed, I was doing this because a lot of parents asked me, how are you teaching? And that's when I got very mindful of how was I actually teaching him. And this is what I was doing with him. So what you need to do is you just have to find 10 slots of 10 minutes each with your child. And when you do that, you're just interacting with your child 10 times a day, only for 10 minutes. And when you're just interacting for 10 minutes, you are not feeling any stress. You're not feeling any pressure. Your child is giving you attention, because 10 minutes is not a lot of time. So they are giving you attention, and your child is with you 100% for 10 minutes. So what do you do in these 10 slots? There are different things that you can do. So the first thing that I do with my son, and something that you should also do, is do 5 new words with your child every day. If you have older kids, you can do 5 sentences every day. And this is a very beautiful exercise. A mentor had introduced this to me long back when I was a kid, and something that I have been doing for years. Just write 5 sentences a day. And for younger kids, you do 5 new words with them. So how do you do it? You just show them those 5 words. You encourage them to use those words in sentences, and then you repeat those words throughout the day. So you do it in the first half, because when you do this in the first half, you have enough opportunity to use those words during the day, and then the likelihood of your child remembering those words really goes up. So 5 new words, that is the first 10-minute slot that you have with your child. Then the second slot, and keep enough gap between the slots. So you are not feeling any stress. Even if you're a working parent and if you're working from home, it's very easy to find break and do this with your child. So do that. Then 10 minutes of reading. Reading is a very, very beautiful exercise. It's so good for communication, vocabulary, creativity, focus, concentration, everything. So it's very important that you read to your children every day. And if kids are a little older, they can do 10 minutes of reading for themselves. They can just sit down with a book for 10 minutes and do that. So 10 minutes of reading every single day. And even parents, I feel, even we should do 10-15 minutes of reading every day. If more, then great, but at least 10-15 minutes. So 10 minutes of reading. And with this, and I also want to mention one thing, that sometimes, we plan so much and we end up doing nothing. We feel that, I'm going to finish all my work, and then for 1 hour, I'm going to sit with my child, and I'm going to do this with my child for 1 hour. First, your child is not going to sit with you for 1 hour, and it's very difficult for you to find that 1 hour sometimes. And even for homemakers, I feel, because you have so many things to take care of: food, relative, guests, other members of the family, and everything. So it's very difficult to find that 1 hour at a stretch. And it's not very productive also if you're doing so much, back to back for 1 hour. 10 minutes is very productive. So second slot, you have to do 10 minutes of reading with your child. Again, a very, very beautiful exercise. And then the third slot, what you can do is you color a picture. And this is something that I do, and which you should also do, is you just draw a simple picture on a piece of paper. I don't recommend coloring books, because what happens is that, your child is just flipping the pages and they just scribble every page and they actually end up doing nothing. So don't give them like too many options. Keep it limited. Give them one picture, one simple picture. You can also draw a simple picture and you can give it to your child, and your child can actually just color that picture. So one picture. So that is the third slot. So already you have spent 30 minutes of quality productive time with your child, and your child is learning, and you are not feeling any pressure. Trust me, you're not going to feel any pressure, and you will be amazed to see the progress. Like when my son started coloring, it was very poor. Like, he was just drawing 1 or 2 lines inside the image, and that's it. But I kept giving him a picture and kept slowly encouraging the small improvements that I saw. And now he's coloring, I feel, better than me also. Like today in the morning, he colored a flower and every petal was of a different color, and it looked beautiful. So you just have to be consistent. So it's always about consistency more than the intensity. It's not about how much they are doing, but it's for how much joy are they doing, even if it's for a small amount of time, and how consistently are they doing that. So the third slot can be, coloring a picture. Then the fourth thing that you can do is free scribbling. Just give them a sheet of paper and let them scribble. If they want to draw something, they can draw. For older kids, they can draw, which is very creative. They can be very creative about what they want to draw. They can have fun with colors and paints. And for younger kids, they can just scribble if they don't know how to write or draw. It's very good for their pencil grasp. Also, when you're not telling them what to do with the pencil and paper, when they're just exploring on their own, they are having a lot of fun, and then they don't want to run away from the whole exercise of writing. But if you just start straight with draw dotted line, straight line, slanted line, join this line, write letter A for the whole sheet, it becomes very boring. How boring can it be to write letter A one big sheet? So, just 10 minutes, even if, they're just scribbling, they're having fun, they're drawing shapes, just let them have fun writing, and that's very, very good and productive, and you can just passively watch them do it. And also the other thing that you can do is you can help them draw a picture. You can sit with a plain paper and you can ask your child that, mommy wants to draw something for you, or papa wants to draw something for you. What should I draw for you? And then you ask your child what he or she wants you to draw, and you draw it for them. So you understand how your child thinks, what your child is thinking about, what your child is imagining. And you're also showing them how they look and how you can also draw this on a piece of paper if you wish to. So that is the fourth slot, how like free scribbling. And then there are 10 minutes of blocks, toys, and you engage with toys that your child enjoys playing with. So don't force them to do things that you want them to do. Let them do things that they want to do, and you also show interest in things that they are interested in. When you show or take interest in things that your child is interested in, then your child will feel that my mother is really interested in me, my father is genuinely interested in me, because they're showing interest in things that I like. How it happens when football fans meet. Even if they are complete strangers, they immediately connect. And why do they connect? Because they have similar interests. So when you are showing interest in things that your child is interested in, you're going to immediately build that connection with your child. So it's very important that you talk about things that your child is really interested in. Then you do 10 minutes of writing. And writing writing can be like ABC. It can be, if your child is little older, they can write like full sentences. If your child is even a little more older, then your child can write a beautiful essay. You can give a topic. And one exercise that I've started doing with my son is that I'm giving him 5 words, and he has to just build a story with those 5 words. He's not writing it yet, but he's making a story with those 5 words. So the story has to include those 5 words. So just encourage your child to write for 10 minutes. And if you feel that your child is not writing, don't be very pushy. Just maybe you can write for them, and they can watch you write. They don't always have to do it to learn. Sometimes watching also really helps. They learn a lot by looking at you as well. So you can write A, B, C, and that's how I did with my son. I used to write and used to just look at me, and then one day he was writing it all on his own by just watching. So that is a very, very effective way to teach your children the letters of the English alphabet if you wish to. And it's very, very easy, and you will not feel any stress, because remember, you don't want to exceed 10-15 minutes. So if you are just spending 10-15 minutes with your child, not going to feel any pressure. Also, when you're doing this, avoid using the word teaching. Just do like having fun together, because when you do something for fun, then there is no pressure on you. And when there is no pressure, you are able to do this activity consistently for a longer period. And also you will see the results, because if there is no pressure, you are more patient and the results are much better. But when you are doing it with the pressure to teach your child, you are in a rush to see that outcome. You're in a rush that, why is my child not writing? It's so irritating. I've been trying so hard. He or she just doesn't want to read or just doesn't want to write, because you're doing it with the thought of teaching. But when you do it with the thought of having fun with your child, even if your child is not doing it, you're not bothered. You're still doing it for fun, right? So it's very, very consistent, and you are also not going to feel pressure. So it's very important that you do this. And then you have 10 minutes of asking questions. Very beautiful exercise, so we are so bothered about what to teach, what not to teach, how to teach, how not to teach, that in this whole process we forget to understand our children. We don't even know what their favorite color is, we don't know what their favorite animal is, we don't know how they think, what they like, what they don't like. So it's very important that you ask your children questions. And when you ask, you're also encouraging them to be curious. They are naturally anyway very curious, but when you ask, they also start asking you a lot of questions. And then when they ask, you tell them, and a lot of learning happens automatically. So ask a lot of questions, and it's a great exercise. Like the other day, my son was asking me, like the king of animals is the king of the jungle is lion. Who's the king of birds? And it is a funny question, but it is a valid question. Why is there nobody like ruling the birds? So it's very important that you actually ask a lot of questions. Can be questions about your child. It can also be questions about like a GK based questions, like the national bird, national animal, and the level of difficulty you can increase or decrease based on the age of your child. So ask questions, spend 10 minutes talking to them basically. Then the next 10 minutes is about clay art, play-doh, some art and craft, mandala art for older kids, and painting, sketching, something like that. 10 minutes. It really relaxes you. Your child is going to feel very relaxed. It acts like an antidepressant. So it's very important that we do these kind of activities also with our children. Instead of not just doing numbers and letters and writing and teaching and reading all the time, but you do clay art, play-doh, sand play, water play, these kind of things for 10 minutes. Acts as an antidepressant. Your child becomes very happy. There are happy hormones. And when your child is happy, your child is learning a lot more. Because a happy mind is going to register and retain everything much better than a mind that is dull and bored. So you don't want that, right? And also remember, the beauty of this model is that you're connecting with your child 10 times for 10 minutes. You're connecting with your child at a higher frequency. So the likelihood of your child being irritated and stubborn and cranky is going to be much less, because your child is constantly finding you, after every 1 hour, 2 hours for 10 minutes. And if you are both working, like if the husband and wife, both of you are working, then you can actually divide these slots and alternate it between the two of you. So effectively, you are just having to spend 50-60 minutes a day with your child. And whenever you're connecting positively with a relaxed, happy mind. And your child is learning without you realizing that your child, without you realizing or feeling the pressure of teaching, and without your child realizing that he or she is being taught something, or that they've been put in a spot and they have to sit there and learn. You're not doing that, and your child is not even realizing that they are learning so many new things. And that is such a beautiful thing, and it's natural, and they're having fun, and they're learning so many things. So then 10 minutes of that, and then 10 minutes of counting, phonic sounds. And this is how I taught phonics to my son. And something that you can also use is, like when everybody has a sound, like cow moves, lion roars, tiger roars, and every animal has a sound. And then one day I asked him, what is the sound of letter A? Everything has a sound. I'm sure letters also have a sound. And he was like, yeah, I think so. So, you make the letters like real characters. So sometimes it's difficult for them because they don't understand what's the point, what is A, what is B. But when you make it come alive, and when you ask them that, everything has a sound, what is the sound of letter A? So then it's very easy for them to retain, because if they can retain the sound of a lion, the sound of a dog, the sound of a cat, why do they find it so difficult to retain the sound of the letters? Because, they are just like things on paper. But when you make it come alive, it becomes very easy for them to retain those sounds. So, do 10 minutes of counting, adding, sounds, words. Again, a lot of word games you can play. Like games like, I'm going to tell you a word, and then you have to tell me a word with the last letter of the word that I tell you. So, and then the person who tells the last word is the winner. So make different games. Parenting requires a lot of creativity. The more creative you are, the less stress you take, the better results you get. So 10 minutes of oral counting and letters and phonic sounds, word games, sentence making, different things. You can also have, like games like, I'm going to give you a word, and we'll all have to make one sentence each with this word. and the longest sentence wins or the shortest sentence wins. It's just a game. And like, it's so much fun, like, and you will also learn so much. And I feel that I am learning so much with my son. There are so many animals that I didn't know about, and now I know because now I'm sitting with books and getting exposed to those animals. Also, animal sounds and where animals live. All of this, opposites and different things. You will also learn so much. So that then 10 minutes of music and dance, very important, very good way to actually. Why do we tell rhymes to our children? Because it's very good for their memory, very good for improving their vocabulary. So do 10 minutes of music and dancing and jumping and free play, running, and those kind of activities. And I usually do this in the evening because then your child is exhausted, easy to put them to bed. So do 10 minutes of music and 10 minutes of dancing. So again, you're spending some quality time, but you're having fun with your child. A lot of time, we want to spend time, and we are spending so much time with our children, but we are spending that time being irritated, trying to think what to do. My child is bored, how to engage my child. I don't know what to do. What can I do to engage him? I get him so many toys. He gets bored of his toys. Kids don't need too many toys. And if you keep buying, they will keep getting bored, no? Because they need real people to play with those toys. So people need people. People don't need things, right? So your kid also needs you more than all those toys. So it's very important that you actually engage them. And imagine just 10 minutes. You're not going to feel any pressure. And this is what I'm doing. Like now I'm teaching my son how to blend letters and make words. And I'm just spending 10 minutes doing that every day. I'm not spending the whole day. That's not possible. It's if I expect that, I'm always going to be disappointed because my son is not going to sit with me for half an hour, 1 hour at a stretch. Even if they sit for 10 minutes and they are active, that's better than sitting for 30 minutes and trying to pull my son, force my son, and ask him to do those things. So 10 minutes of music, free play, dancing, all of that, and then 10 minutes of storytelling. You can repeat. This is like a bonus slot. This is the 11th slot. So before they go to bed, you can repeat. With older kids, you can actually ask them, like what was something exciting. Tell me something exciting about your day today. Tell me one thing, one time when you were really bored. Tell me something that you were really disappointed about. Tell me something that you could have done better. Those kind of open-ended questions, that's going to help them to really think. And sometimes, they might not respond. They might be of the reserved personality, or they might not want to share it with you. That's completely okay. You don't have to be pushy and ask them that you have to tell me. But the fact that you're asking those questions, you're putting those ideas in their mind, and they are going to think about it. Like even if they don't respond to you or tell you, internally, they are processing those answers. So it's a very great exercise, and you're telling your child that these are things that you have to be mindful of during your day. So doing all of this, you're teaching your child a lot. You're not feeling any pressure, and this model works for working parents, for homemakers, for everybody. And I'm a homemaker, I'm a working parent, and this is what I've been using for my 4-year-old son, and I've been using this since he was born. I think unconsciously, like I've been doing this. But yeah, now when parents started asking me how are you doing it, I became a little mindful, and I came up with this. I started noticing what was I doing with him, and this is what I'm doing with him, and it's working for me, and it's going to work for you because it is very effective. And you can also have a tracker like an Excel sheet or a chart on your softboard where you have 10 columns for the 10 slots, and you see what you're doing every day, and you will start to notice the progress and the benefit in your child, like the progress and the growth. And you'll see that your child is speaking a lot more, your child is communicating, using better words, speaking better sentences, is happier, is less cranky, because you're connecting, you're consistently connecting with your child. So your child is less cranky, your child will start giving you space because your child is content. So all of these are spillover effects, and you are teaching, you're not feeling pressure, your child is learning, your child is not realizing that your child is learning. And it is a very beautiful, effective system if implemented. And all of you who are actually going through this and who feel that your child is not learning, and who feel kids are always learning. As parents, we think they are not learning because maybe they're not learning the things that you want them to learn, but they're always learning. They're learning what they want to learn. They have their own interests, and those interests don't have to be exactly what you want them to know and learn. So kids are always learning, and if you wish and if you want them to do things that you really want them to do, you have to sometimes do things that they want you to do. So it's all give and take. You cannot just keep expecting your child to spend time with you, your child to listen to you, your child to sit down and study with you. You are not doing any of those things for your child. Why will your child do those things for you? So if you start to listen, if you start to show interest in what they are interested in, your child will be happy, and your child will respond in a happier fashion, and your child will also be more willing to listen to you. So remember, it's the same. Every relationship is the same, and parent-child relationship is no different. Just like we have expectations from our spouse has expectations from us, and that's all. And in-laws, every relationship, it's all give and take. If you are kind, people are kind to you. If you are not kind, and if you are being mean to somebody, they are never going to be good to you. And it's the same with our kids. If you are being pushy, they are going to be pushy, they are going to run away from you. So understand this, and don't take it as a load. Like, don't make learning like a burdensome thing. Don't make it like a huge task. Don't treat it like this is the end of the world, today I have to do this. And sometimes out of these 10 slots, if you miss a few slots also, it's completely okay. Whatever you do with fun, and that is the beauty of learning. If there is no fun in learning, then it does not even qualify for learning. So everything that happens has to happen with a lot of fun, with a lot of ease, and completely without any stress. And when you start doing this, you will start to see how quickly your child is learning everything without you even realizing, without your child even feeling that he's being pushed, forced, or really like pulled and made to sit on a chair. Don't do that. And sometimes kids don't like to sit and learn. They can be running around in the house, and still you can do these things with your child. So you can tell a story. You don't always have to sit with a book to read a book to your child, right? You can also tell a story. Everybody likes to listen to a story. Some kids are averse to the idea of sitting with a book. Don't do it. If your kid is not accepting it, don't keep forcing it. He's going to keep moving away. So you have to understand that every child is different. You have to actually customize your style based on how your child is, and do accordingly. You have to be very creative. You have to understand, what is my child liking? Can I mix this? Like, my child loves cars. Can I mix counting with cars? Why can't you? You don't always have to sit with a paper and a pen to teach counting. If your child is fond of cars, do counting with cars. Do letters with cars. Put stickers on cars. If your child is fond of some other toy, do it with that toy. So you are actually making your child have fun, and your child is learning. So be creative, and be easy on your child, easy on yourself, and don't even use the word teach. Use the word learn, and learn with your child. And learn together, and that is the best way. And this is something that I read. The best way to teach your child on the internet, I don't think it is by someone, it said anonymous, it said the best way to teach your child is to not teach them, it's to do it. And the more you work on yourself, the less you have to work on your child. So if you are reading, the likelihood of your child reading will be much higher, because they love to follow parents. They're always mirroring parents. If you are watching TV all the time, your child is going to watch TV, and there is no way you can stop it. If you are doing something all the time, your child is going to do that. If you are working, your child is going to work. If you are reading, your child is going to read. And even if it's not 100%, it is going to be there. There is going to be some influence that you are going to have on your child. So if you use all of this that I've shared, and this is 100 minutes that I've shared with you, 110 actually with the bonus. So it's like 1 hour, 40-50 minutes in a day, and that's more than enough. And it's so easy to find this time, because sometimes we are busy, and we've just cooked lunch, and now we are taking a break, and for half an hour, 40 minutes we are just wasting. We don't even realize where the time has gone, and we are waiting for that ideal 1 hour to sit down with our children and do things, and that 1 hour never comes. So don't keep waiting for that 1 hour. Start using the 10-minute, 15-minute slots that you get, and use it productively, because when you use those 10-15 minutes that you keep getting, that's more than enough to teach and learn with your child. So this is all that I had to share with you. I don't think we have too many questions, but I'll be saving this live, so those who have missed it can watch it. And Thank you so much.